Hello and welcome to section 7, part 4. We're going to just continue doing some fixes in this part. We're going to start with just fixing that annoying spacing the entities spawn with. If you've done your own spacing, just skip over this, but I'm going to just fix their spacing, which is done in the entities player controller. And we have this generate entities locations in here. So what we're doing is, well, first of all, we're checking that if it's the first member, then we're just going to use the start group location, and that'll just get the terrain position and add that to the spawn location. But then for the other members, what we're doing is we're alternating left and right, so that's what this is doing. It's getting an index 0 or 1 for left and right. And then on our, let's rename this to spawn spacing Y, because that'll make more sense. Because all we need to do is offset them left and right. So that's the y-axis of the position. So if our spawn spacing is just an array of floats for left and right, and this is just so we can continue the spacing. So the first unit will be the spacing apart, and then the second unit on the right-hand side will be the spacing of the first unit plus the spacing of the second unit, and so on. And we need to... I'm going to add just an arbitrary spacing here. This is something you could put into the data if you wanted to, but I'm just going to add in, I don't know, plus 250. I might actually have something in the data already. Let's have a look before I go and add some random numbers into our code. We need the entity data. Cool. So we don't have a number in there. We could put something in there, but for now I'm just going to use this. And then what I'm talking about there is like, depending on what type of entity it is, you might want to specify minimum spacing. You know what, we're going to do it because we've got the data right here, and I think it's going to be something that's going to come up in the future. So I'm going to put it under minimum spacing. So this will be spacing that it requires, so the size of the actual physical mesh of whatever character this is, and then this will be its default spacing beyond this spacing. That makes sense. Don't make me get paint out. Draw a diagram, please. So we want that plus the minimum spacing, and because it's only on one side, I'm going to halve it. So the spacing will be the full spacing between everything. So think of it as like the diameter, but we want the radius for one side. And that's just the negative of that. And then we don't want to just override it, so we're going to plus equals that. So that'll continue it on. I think that's all we need. That should fix up our spawn issue, so I'm going to have a look at that quickly. So now in the editor, I'll go to the entity data, and the minimum spacing, I might bring that down a bit, 250. But the minimum spacing is the size of a character, so I don't know, 50. It's not very much. See how that works out. So let's just do 1 here. There we go, it's a bit better. Not scattered all over the map. And then if we say, well no, they're actually 100, and we want the minimum spacing to be 500. There we go, that's a bit better. So that is that fixed. The other thing I just need to fix, if we look in our log, we're still getting this root component. So I believe in the header I added that. I thought I added it, maybe I didn't. So we can add the, well, let's just try adding it then, because I thought I already added this, but I guess I didn't. So we want the groups to always be relevant, so that the actual group actor is not going to move around the map or anything. So when we move away, we don't want it to not exist. So it definitely needs to be always relevant. And it looks like I don't really know much about this, but it looks like it needs a root component to, if it's not going to be always relevant, it needs a root component to know its position so it can know when to make it not relevant anymore. But we can avoid, so we've got two choices. We either add a root component to stop this warning, or we just make it always relevant. And we actually want it always relevant. So I'm just going to check that that error has stopped. Yep, not getting any of that warnings anymore. That's good. That's fixed. Alright, so that's sorted. I was just working on testing multiple players in the game, and obviously if you're going to add more players, you need to add more teams or allow teams to have multiple players. But one thing we probably need to add on our loadout component, in where we in the on-player loadout data loaded, where we added our delay for the teams to be initialized, we probably also want to just add not to spawn any units for someone that has no team. That's going to break things. So if we do like that, that'll just stop anyone with without a proper team ID from spawning units. And what it'll do also is on the client, if there's a delay between when it's initialized and when the team is replicated on the player state, then it'll make it do a few more iterations of our attempts here before it goes and spawns it, and it'll make sure it spawns it with the team ID. So that should fix some bugs that was happening with some teams not getting their team assigned. So the last thing I need to look at when I select on the listen server, I'm getting the decals and the colors are right, but on the client, I'm getting no selection decals. So obviously made a mistake in the replication for the client for that. I'm actually going to leave that because as part of the movement system, I was going to redo this anyway and use VFX instead of decals and sort of set up different system anyway. So if you can wait for that, wait for that. It's not much point spending time on it when I'm going to replace it anyway. So just a quick video to finish off those fixes. If you do have any other problems, please bring them to the Discord and in the support channel, and open a little forum post there so we can get them sorted. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.